Hi all, my name is Davis and welcome back to my channel where we talk about all things tech, and today we are comparing a couple of robotic vacuum cleaners and seeing if the Ecovacs Deebot N30 OMNI will dethrone the ever popular iRobot Roomba J7 Plus from the top of the robot vacuum cleaner leaderboard. Now, I've had a very long history with robotic vacuum cleaners. I recall buying my mother an early Hoover model just about 15 years ago now, and it was amazing. Amazingly dumb. I remember that I literally fell down a flight of stairs once, but since then I've used robots from brands including Eufy, iRobot and others, and the progress in robotic cleaners has been quite remarkable. Because over the past few years, the trend has been to integrate a self-emptying base station so that when the robot docks, not only does it charge, but it also relieves itself of all the debris that it has collected. Absolutely genius, and that is one of the reasons why the Roomba Combo J7 Plus has been so popular over the past few years, because of that functionality that makes it super easy to use. You just set it up and forget, and you technically don't need to worry about the robot for a couple of months or so. However, there was a problem with these models. I still didn't want to use the mop function that I paid so much money for. Why? Because unlike the vacuum features, it wasn't completely automated. The process of finding the mop pad, refilling the little tanks, then cleaning the pad afterwards was so much of a chore that I prefer just to mop manually. But that is where this comes in. Ecovacs are launching the Deebot N30 OMNI, and it's finally a truly all-in-one, hands-free robotic vacuum cleaner. And they have sponsored this video so that I can demonstrate to you why this is finally the robot to take down the Roomba J7 Plus's crown. Firstly, let's talk about navigation technology. And the Roomba's technology is fundamentally very good. It works well. It uses their Imprint smart mapping technology to navigate your house, and it utilizes a camera, a little bit like a Tesla car. It's got a little light on it as well to help it avoid obstacles in the dark. And because it's got a camera, it can recognize what certain items are, so it can decide whether or not to avoid them. And with a camera, it can also recognize that this is a chair, and I don't know, this is a cat, and act accordingly. This way it can avoid running over your dog's number 2 and smothering it around the place. And it does this as well with the help of artificial intelligence and machine learning. But it isn't perfect. Despite the flashlight on the front, the system struggles in low light situations. It is also a lot slower than LiDAR systems, and perhaps more worryingly, there are some security concerns. While iRobot does assure that privacy is a concern of theirs, there's always the concern that it does have a camera, it is connected to the internet, and it does see your most intimate moments. Roomba has recently made a number of headlines about their navigation technology because a number of intimate images were shared online from an employee who was using a test version of the robot, and the images were uploaded and shared among other employees. And also, let's not forget how it's now owned by Amazon, which is a business that's built on farming data. So how does the Ecovacs navigation technology compare? Well, like a lot of other robot vacuums, the Deebot N30, instead of using a standard camera, uses LiDAR technology, which in my mind is a far superior technology for this. With LiDAR and their True Mapping 2.0 technology, the Ecovacs is both faster and more accurate than systems that use a normal camera. The robot is also far better able to ascertain the distance to certain objects. It can also identify objects that are just millimeters in size. Another plus is that it works just as well in the dark, and best of all, there are far fewer security concerns as it's not taking actual images. Despite the difference in technology though, I found that the obstacle avoidance for both robots worked very well, and they avoided things like cables like a charm. Honestly, it's quite hard to split the robots in this particular round, so I'm just going to call the first round a tie. Next up, let's talk about vacuuming performance, and this is another area where the two robots use two different methods to create similar, very good results. Roomba chooses not to disclose how powerful the suction of their robots are, and that's probably because they would be embarrassed by the competition. All they say is that it delivers 10 times more power lifting suction than their ancient 600 series models, and that really doesn't tell us all that much. Rather, how the Roomba delivers its suction results is with its dual brush technology rather than outright power. It uses this technology to loosen dirt with one brush first, and then it picks up with the second. Technically, this should mean that it doesn't require such a powerful motor, and it should hopefully use less power. So one would think that it delivers better battery life, right? Well, on the other hand, the Ecovacs is one of the most powerful robot vacuums that you can get at any price, which is very, very impressive for a mid-range model. Its suction is rated at a whopping 10,000 pascals. That is more than a lot of battery-powered stick vacuums. That is simply amazing for something that is so small and could probably fit on this table. And the Roomba isn't the only vacuum with this special brush as well, because Ecovacs' Zero Tangle 2.0 technology. It's got triple V-shaped structures in the brushes to lift hair away, and then a V-shaped spiral brush to move hair centrally, and then V-shaped combs to dynamically untangle hair. And this means that while these vacuums both pick up objects well, it is only the Ecovacs that untangles hair effectively, so that you don't have to pull hair from the brushes after cleans. And if you thought that with the less powerful suction that the Roomba would have better battery life, well, I'm afraid not, because they decided to only fit a 32,000 milliamp battery, which is only enough for around 180 minutes of very light cleaning or around 90 minutes of normal cleaning. On the other hand, the Ecovacs has a 5,200 milliamp battery, and the battery is rated for 320 minutes of light use, or alternatively, I'd say about 180 minutes of more intensive use. So while I would say that both vacuums have great vacuuming performance, the Ecovacs with its hair untangling technology and also its stellar battery life in this round takes the win. And now I'm afraid that it's about to get embarrassing for the iRobot at least, because this is the mopping round. Because where one of these vacuums actually mops the floor, the other just sort of smears the mess around. And let's talk about the Roomba first, because when it first came out, it was actually rather impressive. In the past, when mopping robots first came out, the user had to make the deliberate decision about whether or not it was time to mop or not. Because if it was time to mop, you had to fill up the water tank, you place the mop attachment, and fingers crossed, it wouldn't go over the carpet. With the Roomba, they changed this process for the better, because while you still had to fill up a water tank, and they moved it towards being more of a hands-off device. And with the J7, you could vacuum and mop in the one go. When the robot wants to mop, the arm will lower and the pad will mop the floor. And then when it detects carpet, it will lift the mop up into the air and then it vacuums away. That way the carpet never gets wet. It's very smart and it looks very cool. It's sort of like a convertible car-ish. But my problem with it is that it's just not a very large mop pad. And after you've cleaned up a little bit of mess, well, it just sort of smears the mess around everywhere. One good thing with the iRobot though is that it will double back if it thinks that one area isn't clean enough, but I'm just honestly concerned about the fact that if you plan to mop the entire house without manually replacing the pads every few minutes or so, then you are literally just going to be smearing and spreading all of the mess around the house, which I don't think is a great thing. Another problem is that it doesn't actually mop the edges very well. It might not be important to some people, but grime often builds up next to furniture legs and walls and stuff like that, and I'm afraid that this mop doesn't go anywhere near that. So while the Roomba's mop is pretty cool, I'm afraid that times have moved on. So let's take a look at the Deebot's mopping capabilities. Okay, so first thing, it's got dual rotating mops instead of just a single pad. So already we can see that it can more effectively clean stubborn stains. And yes, if you were wondering, the mops can still lift when going over carpet as well. Although I do admit that it doesn't look quite as cool as the Roomba. But what is brilliant here is that it's got something called True Edge technology. And that means that unlike on the Roomba, no spot goes unmopped, as the rotating mops can spread out and reach into every little crevice and location where the Roomba can't reach. And as we can see with this footage here, it cleans messes very very effectively. But if you thought that was impressive, that's not it, because unlike with the Roomba, with the Ecovacs, you will never be left with a dirty mop, because I am very excited to say that the base station of the Ecovacs doesn't just charge the vacuum. It doesn't just empty the dustbin, but it also automatically washes the mop and automatically dries it with 40-degree hot air. With this base station, it means that your vacuum doesn't just push the mess around when the mop is dirty, but when it's dirty, it can recognize that fact, and then it can rectify the issue by going back to the base station and getting a wash and dry. Because this entire process is automated and that there's no little water tank to manually refill, it means that the Ecovacs is finally a robotic vacuum that can automatically mop with no effort whatsoever as well. I think that this is groundbreaking, so I'm afraid that there is no question here. And the Ecovacs takes the mopping round. And that brings us to the docking stations. Which is best? So for the longest time, this was the reason why you bought a Roomba, and I can see why. The J7 Plus's docking station is small, it's sleek, and the automatic dirt disposal system automatically empties the dirt and debris rather well, and the bin can hold around 2 months worth of material. And while that's pretty decent, as we have just discussed, the N30 OMNI takes that to the next level with its dock that can wash the mop. It can dry the mop with 40-degree heat. It can empty the robot's dustbin, and it's got enough space to hold up to around 90 days worth of cleaning. The whole dock can also self-clean with just one tap of a button, and it also utilizes a brand new solid floor cleaner that acts as a solid form of cleaning agent to both clean the mop and the floor. Each solid unit lasts a month, and it further helps to clean floors, and it smells of green tea, which is lovely. The Ecovacs dock is comprehensively better than the Roomba, and it means that while the Roomba works well as an automatic vacuum robot, only the Deebot works as a fully automatic vacuuming and mopping device as well. So for this round, the Deebot N30 wins again. And finally, we come to the price. The Roomba Combo J7 Plus has an RRP price of $1,099 US, which is a lot of money. However, since it's been out for a few years, it's often available for lower, sometimes as low as a sale price of $699. The Deebot N30, on the other hand, will be launching at a promotional $599. But it will go back up to $799 soon after. So if we take a look at the prices, because both the RRP price and sale price is more affordable on the Deebot takes the win here too. So in conclusion, while the Roomba J7 Plus is still a great robot vacuum, and it's easy to see why it's the best-selling option in the segment, the Ecovacs Deebot N30 OMNI simply outclasses the Roomba J7 Plus in almost every single way, while also being more affordable. It offers better navigation technology, the brush deals with tangled hairs better, it's comprehensively better at mopping, and the base station is simply amazing in all the things that it can do. The Ecovacs Deebot N30 OMNI is truly an automated hands-free cleaning robot in a way that the Roomba just can't match. So thank you for Ecovacs for sponsoring this video and making it possible. You can check out the Ecovacs through the link below, and remember they can save $200 during the launch period with the coupon. And until next time, toodaloo.